All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, regardless of the time that you're watching this, or in regards to the time when you're watching this. I'm actually recording this on Friday morning. Um, it's almost 10 a.m. here in beautiful Redwood City, California. Back at Red Morton Park, and I was going to do this video yesterday, but I just didn't have it in me yesterday. I ran out of gas. I've just been focusing on a lot of things lately, so my apologies for that. I made a guarantee I was going to do 2 videos yesterday, and I apologize that it didn't happen. Sometimes shit happens. But welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. Yes, I have changed the title of my daily walk with Eli. Like I've been mentioning all week, I'm bringing back the Coach Eli gig on a semi-part-time basis. It's what I'm really passionate about, and I really want to help people, find the best way to navigate the modern world that we all live in that's so challenging. And, most people out there just don't understand what's really happening. They don't understand that, for the last, I'd say 20 to 30 years, we've been in the transition phase with the way things are. And especially the last 10 years that we've had these smartphones, mobile devices, tablets, etc., which has even allowed me to do what I do here at the park. I'm using my iPhone on a selfie stick and a nice little headset microphone here to be able to record a high-quality HD, video for you folks. So, yeah, there have been a lot of changes. And so, yes, this is the first episode of Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And I have a doozy of a topic here for you folks today. This is very serious. This is going to be one of the more serious videos that I've done. And let me just get to the topic here, and then I will, give my prelude into it, because I don't want anyone out there to get the wrong idea in regards to where I'm coming from. Okay? So the topic is my thoughts regarding the Google sexual harassment situation, how to protect yourself in the workforce, and not all women are like that. NAWALT, as you can see in the description section of the topic, I put NAWALT. NAWALT, N-A-W-A-L-T, is short for, or is the acronym for Not All Women Are Like That. So let me repeat the topic one more time. My thoughts regarding the Google sexual harassment situation, how to protect yourself in the workforce, and not all women are like that. NAWALT. And when I say not all women are like that, NAWALT, I'm paying a compliment to the women that are not like certain women that I'm going to be discussing in this video. And I say this with a lot of love. So, with that being said, let me get into my little prelude here, because I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea. And because women are emotional beings, even if you mean well, if you talk about touchy subjects, they're going to react emotionally, and they're going to think like you're jealous or you're hating on women because of the way things are nowadays. That's definitely not true. In the world today, and it's always been this way, there have always been good and bad men and women. So this is not an attack on women. This is not an attack on men. Let me switch over here because we got a runner coming. Again, this is not an attack on women and not an attack on men. This is just stating the facts so people really understand what's going on and how to best protect themselves, from something terrible happening because of the way things are in the modern world. So let's get right to it and talk about what's been going on at Google lately in regards to this, sexual harassment scandal between some of their employees and some of their, executives. Okay. So basically, what happened a while back, there were some employees that made some claims that management was sexually harassing them. Okay. Now, do I believe that some of those allegations are true? Sure. I'm not going to sit here and say that there isn't any truth to what's been going on over there. I believe that some, and I'm going to speak about men here because typically when it comes to sexual harassment, it's typically involving a man being in the wrong. Because, guys, we hate to admit this, but if a woman sexually harasses us, for the most part, we're not going to do anything about it because we're guys. We like that attention. And we kind of brush it off. Even if it's coming from a woman that we're not attracted to, we'll just say, no, I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested. Men don't make a big deal about sexual harassment. They don't. And I'm not saying that they don't make a big deal out of it when it happens to a woman. I'm just saying when it happens to us, we kind of just brush it off because we're men. We just don't make a big deal out of those things. But when it comes to a man sexually harassing a woman, it is a big fucking deal. And I agree with that. I'm totally supportive of that. Okay? So, what's been going on at Google? Okay? Like I said, there have been some women in the past that have complained about sexual harassment. They've also complained about the fact that men are getting paid more than women in regards to certain jobs. There's been a big deal made in regards to Google's hiring practices. Okay. I'm going to share my honest thoughts about this, and I'm going to be real about this because let me just come out here and say initially that, I don't discriminate against women when it comes to work. Okay. This is purely a case of women thinking that they're getting paid less than men just because of the fact that they're women. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. In my opinion, and this is what I think is happening out there, is that it's not about the fact of whether you're a man or a woman. It's about the fact of who's best qualified for a job or for the job or a particular job, regardless of being a man or a woman. So, an example, if you have a man and a woman that is applying for the same job or same promotion, okay, and one is more qualified than the other. Let's say, wow, the sprinklers are on over here. I don't know if I want to wet my camera. How am I going to bypass this? This is right in my path right here. Well, let me see if I can go around this here and not get totally soaked. This is part of my walking path. Okay. I found my way around that. I navigated my way around that. So if you have a man and a woman that's applying for the same job or promotion, okay, and let's say, for example, the man is more qualified for the job than the woman, and then the man gets offered the job, okay? He got the job because he was more qualified than the woman, not because of the fact that he's a man and that there's discrimination happening against women. Now, in the same situation, if the woman was more qualified than the man for that job, she would get the job. And she would also get paid the exact same salary that would have been offered to the man had he been more qualified for that job. Okay? And I honestly believe that those practices were already happening at Google and other corporations. Now, is it possible that there are some male chauvinistic bosses out there that still favor men? There's always a possibility. But, with modern day laws, and the women's movement being in full force, which is great, civil rights, equal rights for men and women, equal pay for equal work, okay, it's less likely to happen nowadays. But let's take, for example, if you're dealing with a fair boss that, treats men and women equally and hires somebody based on their qualifications, not their gender. And let's say that, in the case of where the man and the woman, there's a man and a woman that's battling for the same job, and the man gets the job because he's more qualified. In some cases, the woman, even if she knows she's less qualified for the job, if she doesn't get the job, in some cases, women will complain and go to HR and say, well, I didn't get the job because I'm a woman. No. No. Keep your emotions in check, girl. I know you're an emotional being. And I also understand that women respond to things emotionally first before they use logic and reasoning. But no, you didn't get the job because you were less qualified than the man. There's no discrimination happening there, but just because of the fact that in today's day and age, because of the feminist movement and because women have been so empowered and they have so much support, and you have women out there saying, ladies, we can't let anyone get in the way of our success, it makes women kind of crazy in that situation, even if they didn't get the job for a valid reason, to lash out and say, hey, I didn't get this job because I'm a woman. It's like giving them a wild card, okay? Now, not all women are like that. I mentioned in the title, there are different types of men and women out there. There are good, honest, ethical, and loyal men and women out there, and then there are people that play the system. So to the good women out there that believe in ethics, that have morals, values, and ethics, okay? If you're less qualified for a job than somebody else, and if you get passed up for a promotion or don't get a certain job because you were less qualified, you are a strong enough woman and a good woman that understands the real reason why you didn't get the job. And you're not going to come out and say that it was gender discrimination. And that, in all honesty, is what's happening at Google. Is you got a bunch of women there that, in my opinion, and I'm not saying this about all of them, some of them may have been taken advantage of. And for the women that were taken advantage of and sexually harassed, the people that sexually harassed them or didn't give them a fair chance at a job, those people should not only be fired and not be compensated and not get any severance package, they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But I also know in many cases, if not most cases, women nowadays are playing the system. Not all women, but many of them are, because they're trying to fight for survival. They're trying to make ends meet, especially out here in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's very expensive to live. So if you are in an entry-level position out here making 40, 50 grand a year, you're not going to be able to survive off of that. You need to be making at least 100, 110, 120 grand a year to be able to afford a minimum level type of apartment, and to be able to afford your car, your gas, your insurance, everything else. So women are out there fighting for survival, especially out here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And even if they know that they're not qualified for a promotion, if they apply for and get passed up by a man, in many cases, they will pretend to say it's gender discrimination, so that way somehow the company can maybe give them a raise or do something, to make them happy, which what would make that woman happy is a pay increase or a similar type of promotion. So this is kind of like giving women special privileges in this situation solely on the fact that they can play the discrimination card, the gender discrimination card, which all stems back to, the women's movement. Now, I mentioned before in the past that the women's movement is a great thing. And to you ladies out there that think I'm being a male chauvinistic pig, I'm not. I'm on your side. I love women. I respect women. I respect the women that deserve respect. I respect the women that don't take advantage of the system and don't play the discrimination card. Kind of like some people will play the race card. In this situation, some women will play the discrimination card because they know there's no other way they're going to move forward because they're simply not qualified for that fucking job. And rather than working hard and, learning more of whatever they need to learn to better qualify for that promotion and have a shot at getting it in the future, rather than doing that, some women will take the easy way out and play the discrimination card. And then you have other women that are backing them up, which makes the woman feel that she's right when in actuality she's wrong about the way she's handling it. And I'm just being real about that. Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from women that play the game fairly. I just can't stand people that take advantage of the system, whether you're a man or a woman. But in today's day and age, it's much easier for women to take advantage of the system because of the women's movement, because of how it was in the past when it was a male-dominant corporate world. Women are using all of that, and the empowerment of the women's movement and other women supporting them throughout this, they're using that to their advantage to try to get things that they're not qualified for. Should we give women these jobs? And should we sit there and give them special privileges just to shut them up? Okay? And that's what I feel Google corporate's going through, especially the CEO. The CEO of Google has to sit there and make decisions, that are tough. Because in his head, he knows that there are many women out there that are playing the system. But if he comes out and says, okay, these women are playing the system, they're not getting shit, not only is he going to lose his job, but he's going to create fucking chaos unlike anything you've seen. Okay? So how do you handle that situation? Let's talk about what actually happened. Okay? So Google ended up, letting go a bunch of their executives. And they even let go of this one executive recently. I think his name is Andy. He's the one that created the Android operating system. They let him go because what Google said in a press release is that they found that the sexual harassment claim against him had validity. Well, okay, it had validity, all right. And then they gave him a $90 million payout because he's the one that created the Android operating system. So that infuriated women, not only here in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is where Google headquarters is at in Mountain View, California. Like I said, I'm in Redwood City here. Mountain View is like literally a 15-minute drive from where I'm at, 17-minute drive from where I'm at. And infuriated women all over the world to protest against it. But in actuality, okay, did this guy actually sexually harass the employee? How do we not know that? Or how do we know that? Okay? Here's what I think happens in the workforce. And now I'm going to talk about, how to protect yourself from all this. If you're in the workforce and you're spending most of your time there, that's pretty much your biggest social circle. And that's, if you're a single man and you're looking to have a life and have kids and get married and do the family thing, more than likely, you're going to find someone at work that you like and that likes you. You're going to, create a spark of attraction with a coworker. Okay? And I'll tell you, when I was in the corporate world, there was a major rule that I think is a great rule. The rule was that, management is not allowed to date, regular, employees, non-managerial employees. So management is not allowed to date non-managerial employees. It makes sense because here's the thing. Let's say that, for example, I'm a male manager and I have a female cashier employee that's working in a retail store I'm managing. and we hit it off and we start dating, right? Things are going great, right? But let's say, she starts doing things that are against company policy, or she's slacking off, and I have to discipline her, and I have to write her up, because that's what you're supposed to do with anyone that's doing that. So let's say that I'm dating her, and now I have to write her up. I write her up. Now she's pissed off at me, or she's saying, "Do you really have to do this, babe? I'll get better, I promise," right? And you're sitting there torn between the fact that you don't want to piss off your woman, but you also don't want to appear like you're favoring her when you have to manage other people a similar way. Okay? So what's the right thing to do? First of all, I would never put myself in that situation. I'll get to that in a second. But in that situation, the right thing to do would be to write her up and treat her like you would treat any other employee. Because if you don't, let's say you favor her and you let her slack off and the other employees see it, then the other employees slack off on the same situation or regarding the same situation. Now you have to write them up. So you write them up, and now they come to you and say, "Well, you didn't write up your girlfriend for doing the same thing, so why are you writing me up? This is unfair." Now you're creating a huge issue. And that's why the rule was made that management employees are not allowed to date non-management employees. And even though most companies have that rule, if not all of them, it is one of the most violated rules out there, because sometimes, when you're looking at attraction between a man and a woman, sometimes things just happen. And sometimes if you're an upper member of management and you have a non-management employee reporting to you, and you feel that spark of chemistry, it's kind of hard to, not deal with that. It's just a natural feeling between a man and a woman, but you have to subside it. And in my opinion, no matter how strongly you feel about somebody, if you're a member of upper management and you're dealing with a floor employee, you just say, "Hey, this can't happen. It's against the policy, against company policy, and you know what? I just don't want to create any issues." Maybe down the road, if I'm no longer working here or you're no longer working here and we're in a different place, we can try. You're a cool person, but you know what? I can't risk that. It will risk my job. It'll risk your job. I don't want to put us at risk. But most people don't think that way. Most men out there think with their dick. And most men out there just don't think about the consequences. They just think about a cute woman paying attention to them, and that's what gets them in trouble. Okay? So, I'm talking about the best way to protect yourself, from sexual harassment being claimed towards you in the corporate world is to basically just never date anyone that you work with. Bottom line, I've never done it myself. I've never, ever dated anybody that I've worked with, whether I was their manager or whether we were at the same level of employment. It just, to me, it's not a good thing, because if it doesn't work out, now you got to work with them every day, and you have no time and space away from them to get over the breakup, and then it'll just create more issues because people are going to talk about it, and it's just an awkward situation. Why would you want to put yourself in that situation? Why would you want to put yourself in that situation? Okay, so I got to tell you, folks. And this is the thing that these Google executives just, chose to ignore. No matter how cute a woman is or how friendly she seems to be or how well you seem to be connecting with her, if you're an upper member of management and, you're working with a non-managerial employee, if you're a male upper member of management dealing with a female, non-managerial employee, you just can't have any romantic involvement with them as long as you're working together. Now, if you're not working together anymore, no problem. And if you're in a situation where you're connecting with somebody, in that situation, and let's say this woman really wants to be with you and go on a date with you, say, "Look, it's against company policy. It's just not right for us to go on a date because I'm your manager." Now, you know what? If things are different down the road, if I end up, getting a different job, or you're working a different job and we're not working together anymore and we're both single at that time, then you know what? Maybe we can try then. But right now, I cannot put my job at risk or your job at risk. You're a wonderful person, but I cannot risk my career for this. And some women in that situation will be like, well, come on, don't you really, like me, or don't you think I'm special and worth it and this and that? Some women will push that. And you got to say no. In today's day and age, you got to be very careful. Look, I cannot take that chance. I'm really sorry about that. Now, it's funny because even in those situations, some of those women will use that interaction where the man was doing the right thing and say that, oh, you know what, he brushed up against me, or he tried to ask me out on the date, and I just felt very uncomfortable about it, when in essence she was the one that was trying to get with him. Some women are vindictive like that. You got to be really careful. Because even if you do everything right in the corporate world as a male manager, even if you do everything right, all it takes, I'm telling you, I shit you not, all it takes is for a woman to make a false claim that you're sexually harassing her, and HR will suspend you, more than likely without pay, and they'll investigate everything. And even if you did nothing wrong, there's still a strong chance that they're going to let you go. Even if they know you did nothing wrong, because they know the power of the woman and her emotions. If she starts to spread all this, and a lot of women, if they're not taken care of regarding these situations in the way that satisfies their emotions, they will blow it way the fuck out of proportion just because they're emotional beings. And I'm not trying to be critical about women regarding this. It's just the way they are. It is their nature. It is their normal, natural nature, with no disrespect. So it is a tough and challenging situation to deal with. It is a very tough and challenging situation to deal with. Okay, and that's what happens in the corporate world nowadays. That's what's happening at Google. Look, I'm not sitting here saying that there aren't men out there harassing women. There are. And if those men are actually harassing these women, and pushing the boundaries above what's even normal, okay, they should be fired without pay. They should not be able to get their severance package, and they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. They should pay the price. But I honestly feel, and this is just me, from what I've seen and heard, and from when I was in the corporate world, okay, from what I've seen, the majority of cases are false reports coming from vindictive women that are just trying to get ahead when they're not qualified to do a certain job that they're complaining they were passed up for because a man got it. Ladies, take a good hard look at yourself. Take a good hard look at yourself and ask yourself, do you have morals, values, and ethics? Or are you a selfish, vindictive person that's going to do whatever it takes to get ahead to survive in today's modern world? We understand survival is important. Ladies, you got your rights. You got civil rights. The women's movement backed you up. Equal work, equal pay for equal work, the right to bear arms, the right to vote. You got all that, right? And now you're in the workforce, and you're thinking, wow, I can support myself. I don't need a man to support me. Used to be a man would support the woman back in the days. Now women have become independent, which is great. But if you're going to be truly independent, and you're going to have the attitude of where I don't need a man to support me in any way, you're going to have to find a way to make it happen. And in some cases, where you're not as qualified for a job as a man is, and you get passed up, you can't complain about that. Work harder and become more qualified, and then you'll get the job. And if you do become more qualified, and let's say you're in a situation where you are more qualified than the man for the job, and you can prove it, and you get passed up for the job, at that point, you've got a case. At that point, I'll support you for gender discrimination. But in most cases, the honest truth is that the women that are complaining about these things are just not qualified enough, and they want to take the easy way out. In most cases where sexual harassment is filed, it is basically a false claim because the woman is unhappy that either A, the man decided to break up with her because he realized that she wasn't the right woman. So now she's retaliating solely on the fact that the man broke her heart and dumped her. And because he, is her boss, she can go to HR and say, well, he sexually harassed me, or he violated the company's, dating policy or whatever. That's a vindictive woman. You don't want to deal with a vindictive woman like that. Now, there are some vindictive men out there. I'm not saying it's just women that behave in this way, but for the majority, it is women because of the way the world is nowadays in the modern world. Because of the way things are nowadays in the modern world, women have a lot of power. They have a lot of support. Okay? And they've been led to believe that they need to fight and do whatever it takes to survive, at any expense. And in most cases, it comes at the expense of a decent, reasonable, down-to-earth man that's just trying to make a living. So you cannot, as a man today, you got to be really, especially if you're a man, you got to be really, really cautious. Just don't get involved. If you want to date women, go to Match.com. Go to Match.com. You'll find some decent women out there. You're going to have to go on a bunch of dates and then, pick the best one and hope for the best. That's how dating goes anyway, okay? But I'm telling you, the best thing you can do to protect yourself from sexual harassment charges in the workforce is to just not date anybody you work with, period. Some women out there are looking to try to date you to plot their harassment case. Some women out there will pretend to like you, show you interest, wait for you to show interest back, and then they'll flip it on you and say that you were hitting on them and you're making them feel uncomfortable. All it takes is for them to make that one phone call to HR and you're fucked. I'm telling you. Okay? Now, I'm going to wrap up this video here. How long have I been going for? 32 minutes. And then I have a special announcement to make at the end here because I just found out about something cool that's going to really, help me get these videos out faster and with better quality. But I'll get to that in just a second. Let's talk about not all women are like that. NAWALTs. Okay? There are certain women out there that have morals, values, and ethics and would never, ever try to do anything to hurt anyone, including a man, in regards to the same situations I've been discussing throughout this video. I commend those women. I have a lot of respect for those women. You don't play the system regardless of how much money you make. And you're also very understanding of the fact that if you get passed up for a promotion or if someone gets a job over you, whether they're a man or a woman, they got that job over you because they were more qualified. And you're the type of woman that's going to sit there and say, you know what, I gave it my best, but I just wasn't qualified enough. I'm going to work harder and reapply in 6 months. I commend those women. Those are the women that, are known as NAWALTs, which is the acronym for not all women are like that. Okay? So I'm not sitting here and I'm not bashing women at all. And I'm not trying to take anything away from women, but there are good and bad women and men out there. There are people that play the system and do whatever it takes to get ahead. And I can't stand those types of people. They ruin it for everyone else. They ruin it for everyone else. But to the few people out there, to the few good men and women that are still left out there in today's modern world, that have good traditional values, because it seems like nowadays in the modern world, nobody has fucking values. Nobody has morals, values, and ethics. It's an instant gratification world. What's the fastest way to get from point A to point B? What's the fastest way to get a promotion, whether I've earned it or not? All right? That's the attitude in today's world. What do I have to do to get ahead? Do I sleep with the boss? Shit. I'm not even going to get into that, because that still happens all the fucking time. And to the guys that, to the guys that are in a managerial position that sleep with a woman and tell her they're going to promote her if she sleeps with him, you might as well hang your nuts up right now, dude, because, in all honesty, you're going to lose your job and you're going to be fined or arrested for it. All of this shit just really makes me laugh. It bugs me, but it really just makes me laugh. It makes me laugh because one of the biggest problems that people have today is a lack of emotional self-control. That's one of the biggest problems people have. And they make snap decisions. And they don't think about the consequences before they do something. Again, if you're a man in an executive position at a company or a corporation, and an cute employee female starts hitting on you, you need to sit there and be rational and say, look, she's cute. And you think this in your head. You don't say it out loud. For damn sure you don't say it out loud. She's cute, and wow, she'd be a lot of fun. But what am I putting at risk if I even say something to her or get involved with her? What am I putting at risk? I went to school for many years, and then I busted my ass many years working my way up from the bottom on up, from the ground up, to be making my $500,000 a year job. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? And if you are a decent, reasonable, rational man that has his head on straight, you're going to be able to understand that it's not fucking worth it. Yeah, you're a man. You're going to see she's cute and she's fun and bubbly. But is it worth it? You have other options, guys and gals, to meet people and have a social life and have a dating life. Keep your dating life out of the workforce. I'm telling you. Do not date anybody you work with, period. Don't fucking do it. It is a recipe for disaster. Now, in some cases, does it work? In some cases, can it work? Yeah, in some cases it's worked. And there have been some people that met through the high-tech corporate world or any part of the corporate world, and they've had great relationships. But those are the rare exceptions. Those are the rare exceptions. It's not worth the risk. I'm telling you that. It's not worth the risk because of the way the world is today, because of, how supportive the women's movement is. No disrespect. I'm not trying to criticize the women's movement. The women's movement is a great thing. I support women. I love the fact that women are being treated fair and equal nowadays. In most cases. Now, some companies out there, they break the rules. I can't control what everyone does, but for the most part, women are looked at as fair and equal, and they're treated fair and equal. So I respect the women's movement, but what the women's movement has also done, it's allowed, women to, take it a bit too far by requesting special privileges or taking advantage of the system and playing the gender discrimination card now because of the rights that they have. Before they had those civil rights, they couldn't do that. And guys, you got to understand one more thing here before I wrap this up. Women are emotional beings. Sometimes, and I'm not saying this with disrespect, it's a natural thing when it comes to women. Sometimes women are very irrational with their emotions. So even if they want to be rational with you in a situation in the workplace, their emotions are going to get the best of them because that's how women are. So you got to think about female nature at its natural level and how it can destroy you. A lot of times women don't even realize what they're doing to a man in that situation, because they're reacting naturally with their emotions in the way they were made to be by a higher power. So you guys, you gotta take that into consideration. It just isn't fucking worth it. Okay? I hope one day that all of this changes. I hope one day that we find a better way to process sexual harassment claims. I hope companies start to talk about sexual harassment more. They're talking about sexual harassment. What they need to do is they need to add a portion and say, look, there are people out there that are filing false sexual harassment claims. And if you file a false sexual harassment claim, you will lose your job and you will be prosecuted for making a false claim. Now, maybe some companies kind of briefly mention that, but they don't make a big deal out of it. What companies need to do to protect men and women, but especially men from women filing these unfair sexual harassment charges, what companies need to do is say, hey, look, we do not tolerate false claims of sexual harassment. If you're going to file a claim of sexual harassment, you need to have your proof, and you need to present it at the moment that you file your claim. We want to take your claim seriously, but you need to prove it. And if you do, if it is found that you file a claim and it was a false claim, you will lose your job and we will prosecute you, to the fullest extent of the law. We will take disciplinary action towards you. You will lose your job. You will lose your severance. You will lose everything. The thing is, it's the thing that bugs me the most is that the women that file these false claims, they've got nothing to lose. So we have to look at this from both sides, the male and the female side. The man has a lot to lose if the woman just opens up her mouth and files a claim. If the woman files a claim, even if it's a false claim, if she files a false claim and it's found to be false, she gets a slap on the wrist, keeps her job, and nothing happens. But if she once she makes that claim, the guy's suspended and all hell breaks loose. It's not fucking fair. So until this is all figured out, which God knows when and if it will ever be figured out, guys, you got to protect yourself. Guys, you have to protect yourselves. Gals, you got to protect yourselves as well. Okay? I just wish this world would be a better place and that we wouldn't have to deal with all this bullshit. It's all bullshit. And that's where I'm going to wrap up this video here today. I'll be back for a second video today, more than likely. I'm not going to guarantee it because you never know how I'm going to feel later. Oh, yeah, by the way, I am getting fiber in my house or in my place. I am getting fiber internet in my place. And I'm getting a gig up and a gig down for $80 a month from AT&T Fiber. AT&T Fiber is now in my area. Okay? Finally came to my place. Before fiber just rolled into my place, I was only able to get 14 down and 1 up. I've been living with slow internet. Now I'm going to have blazing fast internet to create better quality videos, get them out there faster, and get them out there more often. There's a lot more coming from Coach Eli. And I'm really excited because now I have even more tools to help you folks out and get more information out there faster with better quality. Okay? So stay tuned for that. More is coming soon. With that being said, have a great one, everyone, and I will more than likely be back with another video this afternoon. I got another topic in mind I'm going to surprise you with. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.